Today we're going to have a closer look at Felix Platter. I'm standing here in the Barfüßerkirche. You can see Felix Platter on this almost life-size painting from 1584. Felix Platter is undoubtedly a great son of this city. Even a hospital bears his name. But who was Felix Platter? His father, Thomas Platter, launched, so to say, his career as a goatherd in Grage, in the mountainous canton of Valais. However, thanks to his brains and various scholarships, he managed to receive a fine humanist education. He finally settled in Basel, becoming printer, publisher, and principal of the Lateinschule, the Latin school, today's Gymnasium am Münsterplatz. Thomas Platter felt that his son should have an easier start into his career, that is to say, to skip the goatherd part. Thomas Platter anticipated that surgery was to become the science of the future to come. Subsequently, 16-year-old Felix embarked on a trip down the Rhone Valley to the south of France. In October 1552, he set off with little money and a horse to study medicine in Montpellier. In Basel, he was quite somebody. After all, he was the son of the principal of Lateinschule. In Montpellier, he was a nobody. Sitting in a back row of the auditorium, he and his mate, Johannes Galotus, decided to do all it takes to really understand surgery. But what does that mean? As we all know, there was no Wikipedia in the 16th century. And learning ideally entails understanding, seeing with your own eyes, maybe even physically touch the subject at hand. So those two would go to a graveyard of a monastery outside the city walls late at night and, fresh corpses were being dug out. What started off rather innocently, if one may say so, turned into armed outings. Since the empty graves did not remain unnoticed, the monks would arm themselves to ambush the grave robbers. Truth be told, our two explorers remained undetected and smuggled the corpses inside the city. Sometimes they would take them to pubs outside the city walls. In the halls of these dives, the corpses were being put on tables and dissected. Applied science in action. This is how Felix Platter became one of the best surgeons of his time, while at the same time being one of the founders of Swiss forensic medicine. Back in Basel, he obtained his doctorate in 1557, became professor and city physician. He also had his own doctor's practice. When practicing, he didn't just stay behind his desk, his nose deep in Latin texts from antiquity to the Middle Ages. No, he got closer to his patients and actually touched them in the course of the examination and achieved much more immediate diagnoses. It is this slightly more practical approach that he taught his students, recommending house visits to patients. Even in later years, Felix Platter could never entirely let go of the dissection thing. So if one of his patients deceased, and there was no permission for autopsy, but he just had to know the cause of death, well, off he went to the graveyard and dissected the respective corpse. Mind you, this is no defamation, but can be read in his book Observationes. Felix Platter also treated patients who could not afford a physician, pro bono, free of charge. He controlled the pharmacists of the city and, last but not least, was in charge of fighting the plague. Back in 1600, it was somewhat similar to today's corona. Wash your hands and stay at home whenever possible. The less people adhered to that, the more ferociously the plague could rage. However, Felix Platter came up with something quite unique at the time. He systematically recorded all those infected in town, those who died and those who survived, all neatly recorded according to gender, profession and address. The findings were as follows. Of those women infected, 60% survived. Men had a survival rate of only up to 40%. Along with these records, Felix Platter was busy compiling a city record, street by street, house by house. This happened around 1610, close to the origins of the Merianplan, a map depicting Basel. This map, along with Felix Platter's city record and the charts of the plague, they represent unique documents of the city history. They depict and record Basel as well as its population in a systematic manner. These were some highlights regarding Felix Platter. You will find more here in the impressive Barfüßer Kirche. Thank you for tuning in and see you soon, either for real in Basel Historical Museum or online on this channel. Or of course both.